Across many traditional ashrams and spiritual spaces in India, there is a strange rule. Certain doors are never opened at midnight. Not because they are locked, not because someone forgot the key, but because the time itself is considered sensitive. In yogic tradition, midnight is not just a point on the clock. It is believed to be a moment when the boundaries between energies become thinner. And certain doors, both physical and subtle, are left untouched. But why would a yogi, someone trained in awareness and clarity, avoid opening a door at a particular time? Is it superstition, or does yogi culture see midnight in a completely different way? In everyday life, midnight simply marks the middle of the night. But in yogi culture, the night is divided into energetic phases. Each phase influences the human system differently. Late evening is usually calming. The early morning around Brahma Muhurta is considered the most supportive time for meditation. Midnight, however, sits in a very different energetic zone. At this time, the world becomes extremely still. Human activity drops. Mental noise across society becomes quieter. This deep stillness creates conditions where subtle aspects of life become more noticeable. When yogic tradition speaks about doors, it often means more than a physical entrance. A door represents a boundary between one space and another, one environment and another. In spiritual spaces like temples or meditation halls, certain rooms are designed to maintain very specific energetic conditions. Opening a door suddenly can disturb that carefully maintained balance. This is why traditional temples and ashrams sometimes have strict timings about when spaces can be entered or accessed. At midnight, the atmosphere becomes extremely quiet, not just physical quiet, but energetically calm. Yogi culture suggests that when the environment becomes this still, subtle impressions become stronger, just like how a small sound is easier to hear in silence. In the same way, subtle influences, both positive and disruptive, can feel more noticeable during deep night. Because of this sensitivity, many traditions avoid unnecessary disturbances during this time. Opening doors, moving objects, or creating sudden activity is sometimes discouraged. In mystic musings, Sadhguru often speaks about how the human system is deeply influenced by its environment. He explains that spaces, sounds, and even the time of day can affect our inner balance. One of his reflections on subtle energies is life is not physical. There are many subtle dimensions to it. If you become sensitive enough, you will see that the atmosphere around you carries impressions. Because of this sensitivity, spiritual spaces are often maintained with great care. Certain actions are avoided at particular times to preserve the stability of the environment. Nighttime is often used by yogis for deep meditation. The absence of noise, traffic, and social activity allows the mind to settle more easily. But this stillness also means that disturbances become more impactful. Opening doors, switching lights suddenly, or creating movement can interrupt the deep quietness that supports meditation. So, the guideline about midnight doors is not about fear, it is about respecting the stillness of the night. Sadhguru often reminds seekers that sensitivity is the foundation of spiritual growth. He once explained, if you become truly sensitive, you will see that life is constantly responding to you, and you are constantly responding to life. When awareness becomes deeper, even small changes in the environment can influence your inner state. This is why yogi culture encourages careful attention to space, timing, and atmosphere. Over time, practical guidelines can become mysterious stories. The idea of never opening certain doors at midnight sometimes turns into folklore about unseen forces or supernatural dangers. But the deeper meaning is usually simpler: protecting a space, maintaining stillness, respecting the subtle balance of the environment. In spiritual traditions, small disciplines like these help create conditions that support inner growth. Perhaps the most important door in yogi culture is not a physical one. It is the door of perception, the doorway through which we experience life. Most of the time, that door is crowded with thoughts, emotions, and distractions. But in moments of deep stillness, like midnight, that door can become clearer. This is why many yogis use the late night hours for meditation rather than activity. Because inner doors are easier to open when the world becomes quiet. So, the tradition of not opening certain doors at midnight is not about superstition. It is about understanding how environment influences consciousness. It is about maintaining spaces where silence and awareness can deepen. And it reminds us of something simple. Sometimes the most powerful spiritual practices are not dramatic rituals, but small acts of attention and respect toward the subtle aspects of life. So, the next time midnight arrives, instead of seeing it as just another hour of the night, notice the stillness, the quiet, the subtle calm in the atmosphere. Because in that silence, many doors within you may quietly begin to open. If this exploration of yogic tradition resonated with you, share this video with someone curious about hidden wisdom behind ancient practices. And for more insights into consciousness and inner transformation, like this video and subscribe.